Let me show you this. This is bad. So they've been obviously getting damp and mold around that area. Whilst I'm dumping, I've just seen down here on the floor. Look at all that water that's pooling there. That's probably about an inch of water. Let me get the light there, look. Look how much water there is there. Right, this is probably one of the worst properties I've worked in. I have done work on this boiler multiple times before. It's currently on low pressure. PRV is probably gone, but I've changed the diverter valve, the plate. I think twice I've changed the plate and the diverter actually. This is for a landlord that I do a bit of work for. So my father-in-law's with me as well, so it's actually his contact. He's here doing a few bits as well, and I'm going to be here doing, basically trying to revive this place a little bit. It used to be a kitchen here, so obviously it's all been ripped out. The floor needs to be resorted out as well. But what I'm here to do today is to power flush this system. It's an Eco Elite. Every time I have cleaned out this MagnaClean, it's just been completely chocker. I'm hoping that I can get it all flushed out, get it cleaned out, because the boiler itself, these are solid boilers. I'm, you know me, I'm of the type where if I can save it, I will. If not, then we can look at a new boiler. But I've got a power flush the system regardless whether we go for a new boiler or existing boiler. So I've suggested let's power flush the system first. If I can get it all up and running and then clean the system and make sure it's all prim and proper, then there's no need to replace the boiler. If after flushing, we've still got issues with the boiler, then at least we've done the flush and then we just need to change the boiler. But hopefully it doesn't come to that. I'm just gonna give you a little walk around the property first. I need to sort out some of the gas bits here as well and some of the plumbing. So the meter's there. Obviously we've got in 22 straight to the boiler, so that's all fine. But I need to, this is all unclipped, so I need to redo this. And I think they're gonna be putting a freestanding cooker here. So I'm just gonna get rid of that and then put a backplate bayonet so that it's ready for whenever the cooker comes. Radiators, we've got one there, which I think we're actually gonna get rid of because the size of this room, we've only got that one there and that one here. I think I'm gonna flush it anyway, but then later on, we're gonna remove this because both sides of the walls need to be redone anyway, and then put a bigger radiator here, a double one. And then maybe if we need to change this to a double, we can change that to a double as well, but we'll see what it's like once we put the new radiator there. Let me take you upstairs now and show you how bad it gets. So upstairs, what is that? Oh, I thought that was a bug moving or something, but it's not, it's just my eyes playing tricks on me. I'm not doing anything with the bathroom, but the bathroom is redoing as well. I've got a towel roll in here, which surprisingly is not as rusted as I expected it to be. This bedroom, this radiator needs to come up so they can replaster and repaint behind it. This one here, this one's fine. I mean, the room's not fine, but the radiator's fine. And this one, this is a single. So again, we're gonna see how much heat it gives out after it's been flushed. And if it heats up the room, then fine. If not, the radiators are gonna be coming off for redecorating anyway. And if we need to, we can just change this to probably same width, but just a double. And that should be enough to heat up this room. With radiators, I know you can do intrinsic calculations to work out what the exact requirements are for the size of the radiator compared to the size of the room. But I always like to go a little bit bigger, because if you've got a little bit bigger, you can always turn it down. If it's too small, you can't get more heat out of it. So that's just my logic, and that's how I work. So let's get the power flush machine set up on the boiler. I'm going to be flushing through the boiler. I'm going to be using the pump head adapter. So the boiler's already got low pressure. Let's see what the condition on that MagnaClean is as well. And let's get the flush going. So I've drained the boiler out and just taken the pump head off and just getting rid of the rest of the water that's in there. The rest was flat, not anymore. Recharge that. I'm going to change that AEV up there. There is a bit of staining in here from the main heat exchanger, but I think that's basically where the AEV's leaked there and then travel down the heat exchanger. We'll replace that. I haven't got the service kit for this with me today. I'm going to have to come back to this property anyway, so I'll then give it a full service. So we'll change the burner seal and everything on there. I'm going to probably change that top turret seal as well, just to be on the safe side, because I can see a little bit of staining just there. So when I come back, I'll bring all those bits. pump, you can see by the condition of it. I'm going to give this a clean out before we put it back together. And here we have the pump head adapter. Now, to fit this, don't make the same mistake that I done the first time around, because if you just fit it on as it is, you're not going to get circulation around the. It's going to basically keep short cycling. What I found afterwards, after watching someone else's YouTube video, is this center bit, you have a key here. So I've done a short on this on how to use it, but you basically have to wind this in. You see that there? It will, let me get the key in properly. That starts pushing out. So that bit there will then make the seal against the center part there. So that will make sure that you've got proper circulation. So it's going up through the return, out through the flow, rather than, I've done it before where the first time I did it, didn't know what I was doing. And the machine just kept short cycling on its. I was thinking, why am I not getting circulation? Then after watching a YouTube video, I found out that's the case. So I'm going to get the pump head adapter fitted on here. Power flush machine is set up. I'm going to fill up the pressure in the boiler. I'm going to check if the PRV is going. I hope it's not. We can start the flush. I'm going to do first just a mains flush, get all the dirt out the system. Then I'm going to add in the chemical, let it circulate for an hour. And me and Dad need to go and get some paint from Wicks. Whilst it's doing its circulation, then we'll head out to Wicks, go get what we need to get, and then come back and carry on basically. Right, I'm going to show you guys how I actually fit this, because sometimes even for me I have to have a little think, which is the flow and which is the return. Don't drop that O-ring. So the center is going to be where the flow connection is going to go, because it's going to go through there, up the return pipe, come out through the flow. As it comes up from the return, that's going to come in from the bottom, which is this port here. So when you do your connections, make sure that your flow is on the center, because it's flowing in that direction into the boiler and it's returning back onto here. Now you just want to make sure that you push it in, and then that will go in there, one in the bottom. So with these you get two sets of screws. You get one for Grundfos pumps and you get one for Wilo pumps, depending on which boiler pump you're working with. Right, so I'm going to pop all these in, and then what we want to do, I'll do the other two as well, but then now what you want to do is you want to wind that in, so you start feeling a bit of resistance. There we go. So now I know that O-ring has made the seal against the pump body. So now it will flow through there, and I'm not going to get that reverse circulation or short cycling. I'm going to put the other bolts in and we'll get it all connected up and get it up and running now. Right, let's see how bad this is. Yeah, this has been Keiko every time I've checked it. And let's see if today is any different. Yeah, same. Look at the state of that. System well in need of a power flush. Alright, we're connected up. I made a little mistake. I got these the wrong way around. So the middle is actually our return and the bottom is our flow connection. So the boiler right now is cycling on and off because it's reaching temperature too quickly, which I get because of how much muck there is in the system. But I'm hoping it will get to the point where it will then stay fired up. The power flush machine, I mean, we know that the system's filthy, but you can see that's already jet black in there. So I think what I'm going to do is, don't know if I want to do one round of dumping first, then add the chemical in, or if I should just add the chemical in now and let it do its thing. I think I might let it dump out all the crap first. That way, because there's a lot of dirt in the system, and then I'll add the chemical in, which will then pick up all the rest of the crap that's in the system and clear it out. It's not looking too bad at the moment, but I reckon that's going to get worse I'll just start isolating rads. The clearer it is, the easier it is for me, this job, and the better it is for me, but I think this is just the water that's going through the system. We've not obviously started agitating the rads yet, so I think once we start doing that, it will get dirtier. Well, let's see. Okay, I'm just gonna go around with the thermal imaging camera. So we've got nothing on that one at the moment. We do have heat on the flow. What we've got there on the flow, we've got about 35 degrees. So I'll put the element on there, and I'm trying to get the boiler to run as well. Got some heat to that radiator. Got heat to that radiator. Tower radiators probably won't actually be able to see, but you can see a little bit. Well, you can see that the heat is coming up through the pipework, and it's lukewarm. All right, so we do have heat going to there. How about this one? Yeah, there's a bit of heat coming to it. That one's got some heat to it, and that one's got some heat to it. Okay, it's just that downstairs one on the drop that hasn't got any heat to it, but we'll find out what the problem is once we start isolating the rads, whether it's a valve issue or balancing issue or something like that. We'll find out. So I'll dump the initial water out of the system. I've added the chemical in, so now I'm just going to let that run for an hour around the whole system, let it do its thing, and then start isolating the rads, go from there. I think in the meantime, me and Dad will probably go to Wicks, get what we need to get, and then I've left the filling loop open there, so let's turn the filling loop off now, so we don't want that to overfill. Boiler is, oh, it says fired up again, happy days. So yeah, it's going to keep doing that on and off, on and off. Like I said, me and Dad are going to go to Wicks now, get some supplies, and then when I come back, if it's still not been an hour, then I'll start doing some of the pipe work here, just tidying up a little bit. Like I said, the gas, the hot and cold's there. Try and neaten it up a bit before the new kitchen goes in. I'm not going to renew all of it because there's no point. It's all going to be hidden. As long as nothing's leaking, then it should be fine, but I'll just maybe just renew or tidy up bits of it, clip it back to the wall and stuff like that, so it's ready for the new kitchen to go in. All right, we'll be back later on. This is the second to last radiator that we are now individually circulating. I've done the rest upstairs, so we are getting heat flowing through it. But this one, even when we circulated it for the full hour, obviously it's off at the moment, so you're not going to see anything, but that was still, it still has been stone cold. Right, that's the 5 minutes done for this one. So let's turn this radiator off. Hopefully we'll get some heat through it. If I can. This is really embarrassing. Let me open up the valve. Right, valves are open. Yeah, nothing. We've got, what's that? It's only 13 degrees. It's not even, it's not heating up at all. Mildly warm. I've got a feeling maybe one of the valves might be blocked. We'll try hammering it with the mallet, see if we get any circulation through. But I mean, this radiator is going to be changed anyway. We're going to be putting a bigger one here, but I just want to see if I can get it working, just for my own sanity and my own peace of mind. So let me try a few things. If not, then the main thing I need to check is the pipework clear on this, because I want to make sure there's no blockage in the pipework and make sure it is just the valves, if it is the valves. So where we're going to be removing this one now, what I might do afterwards is just put a bit of pipe through the valves and then see if that works, or actually maybe even take the valves off and then put a bit of pipe through and see if that works. Yes, a no-go on this one. At the moment, I reckon it is one of the valves, because when I follow that pipework up, if we look at it up there, that's hot, that's about 40 degrees up there. And even where I touch that, I can feel that's hot. So at least I know that the pipework isn't blocked, but then it starts to cool down, probably somewhere about here. So that's telling me that there's a blockage either in this radiator or more than likely probably in the valves. Pipework hopefully should be okay, but I've just battered the radiator, battered both sides of the valves, and still got nothing coming through there. That's still cold. That's still only showing about 14 degrees. So like I said, I'm not too worried because this radiator is going anyway, but it would just been nice to have tried to get it up and running. It is what it is. So now that I've finished that, I'm gonna open up these magnets and we're gonna start dumping the system out. Before I start dumping, I thought, let me just check the mesh filter, which was actually clear. I had to batter it out because it was jammed in there, but it was actually clear. So I have to get another one of those because I've battered that. That return ISO valve. This is full of crap. And then, even if I'm doing that, this black lumps coming out. So now, I don't even know if what I've done today is enough or if it's going to need another flush another day with something stronger. Might need to get some FX2, but I mean, I'm going to do what I can today and get this flushed and at least get some of the radiators, get the radiators working, and then if I need to, I'll have to pre-dose it and then come back and flush it again with something even stronger. Right, let's have a look. See what we've caught in these. It's less than what I expected, to be perfectly honest. It's a lot less than what I expected. So that, to me, I don't know if it's actually gone around the system properly. Right, let's. So currently trying to dump that radiator. I don't know if it is doing anything. Oh, we've got a kink. Right, unkink that. That is some good flow on the dump rate, which is unnerving because that can't be that radiator, because I reckon it might be going for the bypass on the boiler, which is not a bad thing because at least this way is cleaning out the internals on the boiler. So we'll let that clear up first and then we'll move on to the, well, technically the first radiator, because this one ain't doing anything. Yes, I can actually feel a bit of warmth in that pipe now. So it's definitely not flushing through there. I'm losing the will to live. Things don't seem to be right. The dump rate is too good and the water's too clear for my liking. And when I'm checking with the thermal imaging camera, the radiators that are meant to be cold flushing, they don't seem to be as cold as I expect them to be. I've started stripping the boiler out and I found some things. Let me show you what I think is potentially the issue. Just taken out the diverter cartridge because that was leaking in there, and I've just found that, I don't know how clearly you can see, but there's a shard of dirt in there that's stopping that from fully closing. So I've got a feeling this is bypassing around the plate, and that's why I'm not getting the heat to the other rads or the circulation through the other rads, because I've got chunks in there. So luckily, van stock, I'm going to replace the diverter cartridge and try this again, and hopefully that sorts it. But I'm telling you, this house is cursed. Let me show you this. This is bad. So they've been obviously getting damp and mold around that area. Whilst I'm dumping, I've just seen down here on the floor, look at all that water that's pooling there. That's probably about an inch of water. Let me get the light there, look. Look how much water there is there. And what I found is the gully where I'm dumping, which on the outside there, I think that's leaking under the house. And that's why they've been getting all this damp and mold around here. So at least by me dumping, I know it's created a bit of a flood underneath here, but at least it's highlighted where the issue was before the floor gets closed up. So now they can get the relevant people in to sort that out. I'm going to try and get this boiler back up and running again. So yeah, let's crack on. All right, new diverter cartridge, isn't it? And that was actually a lot more harder to get down. So that's giving me a little bit more confidence that that should have done the trick. Now let's open up the isolation valves under the boiler. Okay, and now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take you guys upstairs. We're going to see what the temperature is showing on that radiator before I start to cold flush it and see if we're getting circulation through it. So this is the one that we're doing at the moment, and look, that's about 10-11 degrees across there. So my imaging camera battery is about to die, so let's get flushing and let's go back up and then check. That's dumping. I can actually hear water running through it now, which I wasn't before. Yes, I think that diverter cartridge has done it. Because now I can actually hear water flowing through that radiator. I think that might have done it. Let's go and check what the actual colour of the water is dumping out into the gully now. Okay, so it's still not that bad. Actually, is that getting darker? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is. That is progressively getting a bit darker. So I'm happy now. I'm happy. It's circulating through the radiators now. There was that diverter valve, that diverter cartridge that needed replacing. So now that's done. We'll put that on charge. I'm going to need to put this camera on charge as well. And I'm going to carry on now. So I think it's working now. I'm still here. I've also just taken the plate out as well. See that screw there? Don't know if you can see, I don't know if it will show up, but it's basically all chewed up. I had to hammer a chisel bit into it and then tap it out. Luckily, got another plate screw. That's why I always keep little screws and stuff like that, spares. That plate is out here. It's just stopped bubbling. I'm gonna rinse it out and probably put a little bit more in there as well, spirit of salts, to try and clean that plate out. Taking that radiator off. Upstairs, I've basically loosened it, swung it down, and then tightened it back up again because they want heat in that room, but they also need to do some work behind the radiator, so at least that way, hopefully the boiler works, and then that room will still get heat even with the radiator just sort of lying on the floor. I'm gonna clear out that plate, pop it back together, put the boiler back together, and then pray that this power flush has worked. 9:52, but it's worked. It's worked. Boiler's staying on. We've got nice even heat. That's obviously a heating pipe there. It's nice and hot. There is one radiator upstairs which is not working, but I don't know if it's because I'll show you what I mean in a minute. The towel rail, obviously the chrome reflects the heat, but you can see on there it's about 49-50 degrees. Now this is the one that's not coming on at the moment. I've got heat to the valves, but I don't know if it's because I've tilted it down. So I've left it like that so that they can do the... I'm running out of breath. I'm so tired today. I'm also coming down with something, I think. I think the kids' illnesses have finally caught up with me. There we go, 62 degrees. 64, 66. So it's worked. I also ended up having to change the plate because, yeah, that plate, it was so Keiko. I used a bottle and a half of spirit of salts, nothing. Did not want to shift it. Yeah, didn't want to shift it, so I ended up putting a new plate. So it's got a new plate, new diverter valve, new top AAV, and it's been power flushed. I'm hoping it's all good now. I want to go home now. I've got I actually just got that to put away, and then yeah, I'm out of here. I've left the condense just running into a rubble sack at the moment. And then yeah, I actually haven't done anything with the pipe work because after I realised there's no point in me doing anything because the walls all need to be sorted. So once that's been sorted, then I can come back, and once we know the kitchen plan as well, then I know where to bring my gas up, if I need to redo any of the plumbing there, and I'll do that afterwards. But yeah, I'm signing out, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. I know power flushing videos aren't very interesting, but I hope this one was a bit interesting. And any comments or questions, drop them below, and don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys all soon. Thanks for watching.